Hi everyone, JJ here. Welcome back. Well, Elon Musk is in trouble yet again with the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission. As you can see from the headline, SEC sues Musk for failure to disclose growing Twitter stake this time. This dates back to 2022. Agency alleges billionaire ignored disclosure deadline in 2022. Musk's lawyer says he did nothing wrong. Of course, what else would he say? And SEC has no case. Here's another headline about it from CNBC this time. SEC sues Elon Musk alleging failure to properly disclose Twitter ownership. The SEC on Tuesday filed a suit against Elon Musk alleging that the billionaire violated securities law by acquiring Twitter shares at artificially low prices. And we're going to get into how he did that and when he did that. Musk bought Twitter in 2022 for about $44 billion. I'm sure we all remember that. Later changing the name to X. Was that a mistake? That's another story, another question altogether. Okay, the article outlines that the SEC filed a lawsuit against Elon Musk on Tuesday this week, alleging the billionaire committed securities fraud in 2022 by failing to disclose he had amassed an active stake in Twitter, a secrecy that allowed him to buy shares at artificially low prices. So he was supposed to disclose earlier than he did. Now, the problem is, prior to the acquisition, he'd built up a position in the company of greater than 5%, which would have required disclosing his holdings to the public within 10 calendar days of reaching that threshold. So CEOs of companies know this. Warren Buffett's talked about this, disclosing different things at the right time. He does everything by the book. But according to the SEC's civil complaint filed in the U.S. District Court in Washington, D.C., Musk was more than 10 days late in reporting that material information, allowing him to underpay by at least $150 million. So that's the sum we're talking about here. It's not a small amount. It may be within the $44 billion, but still a significant amount of money. So $150 million for shares he purchased after his financial beneficial ownership report was due. Now, it says the SEC had been investigating whether Musk or anyone else working with him committed securities fraud in 2022 as the Tesla CEO sold shares in his car company, or is it a technology company, and shored up his stake in Twitter ahead of his leveraged buyout. Musk said in a post on X last month that the SEC issued a settlement demand, pressuring him to agree to a deal including a fine within 48 hours or face charges on numerous counts regarding the purchase of shares way back in 2022. Does take the SEC quite a long time to investigate these things. Sometimes it can take years to uncover things. Now, Musk's lawyer, Alex Spiro, whose name comes up a lot in these articles, he must be pretty busy with Musk, said in an emailed statement on Tuesday that the SEC's action is an admission that they cannot bring an actual case. He added that Musk had done nothing wrong and called the suit a sham and the result of a multi-year campaign of harassment culminating in a single-count ticky-tack complaint. So he's alleging that it's a sham, and Elon Musk will no doubt say this on X. He's been railing against the SEC on numerous occasions, way back to when he had a run-in with them for the infamous funding secured tweet, which he did get fined for, and he wasn't allowed to be chair of Tesla for a certain amount of time. So he has had run-ins with the SEC. He's alleging lawfare, as Trump alleges lawfare from the Biden administration. Now, this does have to be brought up, and I'm sure you've been thinking this as well. Musk is just a week away from having a potentially influential role in government as President-elect Donald Trump's second term begins on January the 20th, just days away. Musk, who was a major financial backer of Trump in the latter stages of the campaign. That's right, more than $250 million, $250 million he put towards Trump's campaign. And he did say in an interview with Tucker Carlson that he would be effed if Trump didn't get in. Perhaps this was one of the ways. So Elon is poised to lead an advisory group that will focus in part on reducing regulations, including those that affect Musk's various companies. Will he try and make this go away? Will Trump help him to make this go away? Or will this continue with Trump in power? It remains to be seen. Is this just a symbolic gesture on the way out? Now, back in July, Trump vowed to fire SEC Chairman Gary Gensler. After Trump's election victory, Gensler announced that he would be resigning from his post instead. Not surprising, and that's just days away, so this is very much on the way out here. And Trump said he would fire Gary Gensler. I remember this. It was at a Bitcoin conference, a crypto conference, and he had a big roar from the crowd when he said he would fire SEC Chairman Gary Gensler. And he said he didn't realize how unpopular he was. So then that got him all fired up to do that. Now, if you're getting value out of this episode so far, I'd really appreciate it if you remember to hit that like button to help the algorithm to spread it to more people. It really does help. Thanks. Now, the SEC isn't the only one. In a separate civil lawsuit concerning the Twitter deal, the Oklahoma firefighters' pension and retirement system sued Musk, accusing him of deliberately concealing his progressive investments in the social network and intent to buy the company. The pensions fund attorneys argued that Musk, by failing to clearly disclose his investments, had influenced other shareholders' decisions and put them at a disadvantage. Meanwhile, in this case, the SEC said that Musk crossed the 5% ownership mark in March 2022 and would have been required to disclose his holdings by March 2024. So they obviously looked into it, the fine details of when he did what. On April 4th, 2022, 11 days after a report was due, Musk finally publicly disclosed his beneficial ownership in a report with the SEC, disclosing that he had acquired over 9% of Twitter's outstanding stock. The complaint says that day, Twitter's stock price increased more than 27% over its previous day's closing price. So as you can see, that's quite a jump, just over a quarter, it jumped up. So Musk would have known that that was the case if it got publicly known. So I'm sure the question is here, did he just forget to do it, or was he doing it for his own benefit on purpose because he knew that would happen as soon as it was publicly disclosed? Did he want those extra days? That's what the case will involve, I'm sure. Now, the SEC alleges that Musk spent over $500 million purchasing more Twitter shares during the time between the required disclosure and the day of his actual filing. That enabled him to buy stock from the unsuspecting public at artificially low prices. So the SEC protecting the public here, that the public was potentially ripped off. The complaint says they say he underpaid Twitter shareholders by over $150 million during that period, according to the SEC. Now, for a brief period in April 2022, after his ownership had been made public and it was known that he was the biggest shareholder, Musk was set to join Twitter's board. However, he quickly abandoned the plan, telling the board he would not take a seat. And that was a bit of a period of chaos there when he was also wanting to pull out of the deal, but he was really made to buy it in the end. You see, it says what followed was a 6-month drama that began with Musk submitting an unsolicited bid in mid-April that was opposed by the board. And it was a drama kind of played out in public and media articles and on X. Twitter's board eventually accepted Musk's offer later that month. Soon thereafter, Musk tried to back out, alleging that Twitter was misstating the number of bots on its service. That was the reason he gave. He said there was way more bots than he ever thought on there that they disclosed. That was his excuse anyway, but really, did he just offer too much? That's what some people say, that the price he got regret from doing it. It was quite a fast decision. Musk ultimately closed the deal in October 2022, famously walking into the company's office in San Francisco with a sink in his hands. Let that sink in, Musk wrote, attaching a video of his entrance. And the rest is history. We know what happened to X after that. Many things. Some people like it, some people don't. A lot of left-leaning people have moved over to Blue Sky, have left it, don't like what Musk is doing with it. I made a separate video about that. It's been very popular, that video, of people moving over to X, the Exodus, as it was called. The story is developing. Yes, indeed, still developing. As I said, Gary Gensler, the chair, is leaving. There'll be a new chair. Will all this magically go away when the new administration comes in? We'll have to see. Is this just a parting shot, that, in public, to say that you did this, but really we can't do anything about it, or we will have trouble doing anything about it because Gary Gensler's leaving? There'll be a new administration. Maybe it'll magically go away. We'll have to see. And that seems to be what the Elon cult worshippers want and think will happen here. This is Emmett. He's kind of a new follower, new worshipper. I noticed he bought a Tesla. He's been trying out FSD, raving about it. Elon Musk retweeted his tweet, so he got a lot of traffic for that, starting to earn money on that. And he says that he's going to start a channel, possibly with FSD. Absolutely encouraged with that just over last weekend. But anyway, he says, 5 days before the SEC chair retires, lol. He's implying that this is just going to go away. I've seen Sawyer Merritt, another Tesla influencer, a pumper on there, who says it should go nowhere, and that's what they'll be expecting. And maybe they'll be right. We'll have to see. What do you think of this? Let me know in the comments. Do you think this is just all going to go away when the new administration comes in? Trump will be able to do this. A new chair comes in and dismisses this case, and it never goes anywhere. What do you think about that? Let me know in the comments. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to put a link to what YouTube thinks that you should watch next. So go and see that now if you want to. And also put a subscribe link on screen. Do subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of thing in the very near future. Thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you in the next one.